out, but I'm Jeannie Ralston, and we're going to be talking about Charleston. And behind me is one of the scenes you'll see when you go to Charleston. It's at the home of one of our Next Tribe friends. But I want to introduce Ellesor Holder, who's a great friend of mine from college days. We went to college in South Carolina. She still lives in South Carolina. She knows Charleston backwards and forwards, and she is way fun, and she's going to be on the trip to take you through. So, Ellesor, why don't you say hi and we'll get going.
Hey, y'all, and I know there'll be other people coming on board, so I do need to share my screen, Jeannie, since
Yeah,
it's on mine. Y'all just let us work out the technical difficulties.
It should be good now.
What do I do though?
Oh, you just hit hit share at the bottom. Share screen. Green.
Oh, right in front of me. I'm so excited to be sharing. Okay, is anybody seeing it?
Not
there we go. There we go. Is that good?
Yep. It's good.
Okay. All right. Well, we're going to jump in, and if other people come on board, that's great. So it's Charleston, and this is one of our pictures from being out on the secluded private beach. It's a reserve. So we boat out there, and it's so much fun. Which I'll share more about that with you as we go through this. But that was the crowd from last year. If y'all know already that it is the #1 city in the U.S. by Condé Nast Traveler, Southern Living, Travel and Leisure. It wins best awards all the time. If you surf it, you know why it's such a great city. So I'm glad y'all are considering it, or you've already joined in. And I am Ellesor Holder. I am your guide. I have lived and worked there at times in my life. And I have good friends. Jeannie and I have good friends that still live there. And it is just an amazing place. So it's a city with all that it has to offer, the historical part in the downtown area, as well as the beaches. So much to see and do. So I'm glad you're considering this, or you've chosen this town, because you're just going to love it. Everybody loves it. And it's so sought after.
Tell us about the golf cart, though.
Oh, yeah. So see that picture? Last year, there were some weather issues, and we were about to go on our sunset boat cruise, and we'd already been to our lunch and our event at our friends, where you meet an author with a fellow Next Triber. And so we had some time to kill, because the boat guy said, hey, I need y'all to take some time. We always have time between everything we do. And so my friend, she has this golf cart. So we all jumped in, and we had the best time. I took them all over Sullivan's Island. And I don't know Sullivan's Island as well as she does, but they kept saying, what's that? I said, that's something. And they'd say, what's that? And I say, that's something. So it got to be the biggest joke of the whole weekend. But I did know what some things were, but that was fun. So I rode them around, and we saw people's homes. We go by Fort Moultrie, which is historical, and where, we kept the British at bay. So yeah, that was a really fun trip, and we all packed in, and everybody was like, are you legal to drive this thing? And of course I was not drinking, but they were, so it was really fun. So, all right. So we get to Charleston, and we stay at the King's Courtyard Inn. Jeannie and I have a sorority sister who, we knew at Carolina, but hadn't really kept up with her. And I re-met her again at a party. And she and her husband own a collection of hotels, and they're so cool, historical, well-appointed, as you can see in this PowerPoint. So the King's Courtyard Inn is on King Street, which is the most famous of all streets in Charleston, which is the shopping. It's the city center. It's just lovely. And you can go grab a coffee if they don't have, they have it at the hotel, but you can go do all kinds of things from here. This is what the hotel room looks like. And then there is a courtyard, and it is just Southern hospitality through and through. And everything they do in their collection of hotels is amazing. And they even own the hotel next door, which is called the Fulton Inn. And it's amazing. So we are in good hands with where we're staying. And they offer breakfast in the morning. And then if we need anything, they provide. It's just very hospitable and in the city center. So King's Courtyard Inn is wonderful. And then we hit the ground running on Thursday. We go on a historical walking tour, and these two sisters provide the tours. The one on the right, your right, looking at this, is Theresa. She leads us. It is the most entertaining, fun walking tour. It's about 2 hours, hour and a half, 2 hours. And she takes us everywhere. And y'all, when she's walking through the streets, hey, Fred, how are you? What's up? Hey, Susie. She knows everybody in downtown Charleston. She knows the history like nobody else. She introduces us to people. She makes it fun. She tells us little things that I don't think you'd hear on a normal tour. And we're crossing our fingers. She's going to have us in her home this year. I've already reached out to her, but she is tried and true Southern, born, bred, lived in Charleston. And I hope, which I think she's going to do, is have us into her home just to give us a little taste of life in downtown Charleston.
And I'm just going to interject here that she, we've done this tour several times, and I think the second time we did it, she just loved us so much. She loved the group, but that's when she said, oh my God, I want you to come over to my house and have a drink. Come, and I live right around the corner, one of the best houses in town. And we couldn't because we'd already planned something. And then she was going to do it last time, but she had an emergency come up, so we couldn't go. But anyway, so she's just one of us. She's just fun and smart and sassy.
And y'all, last year we were supposed to go to her home, but a friend's husband had passed away, which was sad. And she said, I really can't, I have to go to the funeral. So when we were walking through the town and she's giving us our tour, the woman whose husband who died drives by, she stops her, says, hey, because he was older. So I mean, obviously she was in mourning, but grieving, but we had a little chit chat with the woman whose funeral's husband she had to go with. It was, I said, oh my gosh, only in South Carolina, only in Charleston, and with someone like her that you get this hometown feel. So that was really funny that, we got to meet the lady whose funeral she was going to. So we do that, and then we take a break. We go back, we clean up or whatever everybody wants to do. And then we take a tour of the Wentworth Mansion. And this mansion is owned by Lynn Lassane and her husband, the collection I was talking about, who owns the King's Courtyard. And so she gives us a tour of this mansion, which dates back to the 1800s. And it is spectacular. They made sure that all the appointments, all the rooms are true to the history. And it is something to behold. And you can just see people in carriages coming by and in long dresses. I mean, you just can envision. And again, true Southern hospitality. She gives us a personal tour, takes us throughout, and then takes us to the rooftop where you can see all of beautiful downtown Charleston. And we have a glass of wine and we take that in, and she answers questions. And this mansion is just something to see.
And I think the hotel is ranked as one of the best in the US. I mean, it continually gets, ranked up way up there.
Yeah, it's really, really nice. And then after we meet her and go on a tour, and last year she had the time, she ate with us. So I'm hoping she'll do that again with us. She'll dine with us at dinner, which we go to circa 1866, 1886. And it is a world-renowned restaurant in Charleston. It is delicious. She's the one in the middle of that picture and went to dinner with us. And the food is just spectacular. We have our own room and we are waited on hand and foot, and it's just a meal to die for. And we get all the courses. And then of course we drink wine, and we actually walk to this restaurant, but you don't have to. I mean, there's ways to get there. It's not far from the hotel, but most everybody was comfortable walking, and we walked back because Charleston in groups, you're perfectly safe. And it's a good way to see the town when we're going back. So whatever everybody's comfortable with, we could always Uber if we need to, but it was lovely. And she really showed us a good time, and the food is excellent. So circa 1886, you can look it up. It is just a fabulous restaurant. So Southern. And then that time of year, it's really nice out. So you're not sweating and hot like our summers can get really crazy, like Texas summers. So yeah, the weather is great. So that was our crowd last year. And then we go back, and typically you never know what will happen. We have sat in the lobby. If people want to continue to go out and they're a little more spry, we have plenty of places to go have a nightcap or a cup of coffee and dessert, or more dessert, because we had dessert at the restaurant. So people are usually open to whatever, and that's how we'll end the night. We just kind of go with the flow. If some people want to go, we go. If some people don't, and if people are too tired. But the next day, we're going to start out on King Street, which is famous for its shopping. It's known for that. It is the main thoroughfare of downtown Charleston. And so there are some really unique places that we have been to and talked to the owners. So we go to those. So I will take anybody who wants to go into these unique and really distinct boutiques. And one of them's Ubu Movement and Spartina 449, and then Krogan's Jewel Box. They just have really different items, and they're local and southern. So yeah, we can do that in the morning of Friday. And then if we haven't used up too much energy and we get another cup of coffee, we're going to have really fun a lot of fun starting for the Springtime in Charleston garden tour. We added this year because we saw these people walking around last year and everybody wanted to experience it. So we go to actual homes in downtown Charleston to their gardens. So we will spend 2 hours walking throughout people's gardens and homes. And I mean, you are steeped in history and these old homes and how they were designed. And then to see how these people keep these gardens and how beautiful they are. I mean, you'll be inspired, you'll be in awe. I'm looking forward to it because I have not done this house and garden tour. And there's about 6 to 8 on the tour that we are going to hit. So you're going to see quite the variety. You're going to experience Southern decor and gardening in true style like you may never see anywhere else. So I'm super excited about this year. And we did add it because we saw the excitement of all the people walking around last year who were experiencing this tour. So super excited about that. And then we'll get a little bit of a break. And then we're going to do a farm to table experience. Now, this is so unique. We're going to go to an area where we pick out the food we're going to eat. We're going to meet our chef. And we go to something called the vegetable bin. We pick out our food. We pick out the meat or the seafood. And the chef is talking to us. And then the chef walks off and goes and starts preparing the meal for us from what all we've chosen to eat that night. And then we take a tour of a neighborhood, an old historic neighborhood near this vegetable bin while the chef is cooking. And then we show up and we are served the dinner of all the produce we have chosen and the meat. And if somebody's a vegetarian, they accommodate that. So you can just eat the vegetables. And so we will have a lovely sit-down dinner by the chef of the food we picked. So super excited.
That is so cool. I love that.
Yeah. So that's going to be a wonderful culinary experience, a wonderful way to end the evening. And then if anybody's interested, because you may be able to tell, I'm a little bit of a live wire. So if people want to keep going, I will keep going and take them to places to have a nightcap or another glass of wine or coffee or tea or whatever is your favorite beverage. We can do that. And if not, that's fine. I mean, we're very easygoing about, any after hours activities that you want to do. But there's plenty and there's so much going on and it'll be really, really fun. So then the next day, we're going to tour Boone Hall Plantation and Gardens. It is an old plantation from the day. They have gardens of strawberries at that time of year, which are just huge and delicious. So I went and grabbed a whole big little basket of them and shared with everybody in the car, which was fabulous. But one thing about this particular plantation is they do show the life of the day and they revere it and they want to educate people about it. So you understand more clearly if you have any questions about the slave and the plantation owner, but then they allow you to ask as many questions and to see everything. So they don't try to change history, but they want you to be educated about it. And then they have presentations by people who share the Gullah life, which was some of the slaves that came over ended up, of course, staying and creating their own communities. and it's Geechee, Gullah, and they share their language. They share how they moved out of slavery into community and what they created. So it's very educational. It kind of sheds a light that maybe you don't know, and maybe you do. So everybody who goes is just blown away by what they teach and what they share and what they want you to know about this particular plantation and about how it transferred from what it was to what it became, and people being free and having lives in the South.
And that's, and I wanted to say that's one of the reasons that I like this plantation, because it doesn't gloss over anything, and it also, you get to go to the places where the that's the main attraction. I mean, main thing to focus on is what the slave experience was. So you really understand a lot more. Like the house isn't even it's not the actual house from antebellum times, but I mean, it's pretty, but I think that to me, it's that kind of education that's really important.
Yeah, and they're very interactive, and they want you to ask questions, and the people there are so knowledgeable, and again, gardens with fruit, and so and they have events there all the time, and they are considered the #1 plantation in the Charleston area. So we go to that for a couple of hours, and then we head to mine and Jeannie's friend, who is she's born and raised in South Carolina, Edgefield, South Carolina, but she has lived in Charleston for over 30 years. And Sullivan's Island, which, there are islands out around Charleston because it's a peninsula. And Sullivan's Island is so cool, so neat, as you can see in these pictures. So she invites us into her home, and we have a very accomplished author who comes and shares her book and talks to us. So it's a relaxed, it's learning from a local author about her writing and who she is. And then we're in the home of Barbie, is her name. And so last year we did a woman who wrote a book, and she's come up with these biscuits, Callie's biscuits. Oh my gosh, we couldn't even eat. These things were huge. The biscuits were like this big. So we will have a catered lunch, and it's very relaxing, and sit around and talk to the author we have. And the author we have this year has written some stories, and she's a lawyer and has a blended family, and she's just super fascinating. So we're excited to introduce her to everybody who goes on the trip. And so this happens for a couple of hours. And Jeannie, do you want to add anything about the author's lunch?
Oh yeah, and I mean, it's just, I like to, in the past we've had like Pat Conroy's widow spoke. She's an author in her own right, and we've had a mystery writer, and a lot of the people we like to talk to them about how they use the Low Country, which is what this area is called, how they use the Low Country in their stories, or how it inspires them. And Callie, or her name's Carrie, but the owner of the Callie's Hot Little Biscuits, I mean, she had a great story to tell, and her book was a recipe book. So we got to eat her food, hear from her, get her book. So we just make it's fun, and you get to see inside this really great home. Our friend Barbie's has this, that's the view. It's the view that you saw earlier behind me at night, but that's the view out to the intercoastal waterway.
Yeah, so she's on a creek that leads to the intercoastal waterway, and then the ocean's on the other side. And she is the one with the golf cart, and you can see the clouds building. And that's where our boat guy called me and said, I need you to waste some time a little bit, which was the infamous golf cart ride, which ended up being the hoot of the whole trip. So, so we'll make sure you have a good time, no matter if there's clouds or rain or whatever. So then what we do next, after being at Barbie's house, we take a boat ride and sunset cruise. And you see this gentleman up in the left. He is hilarious, educational. He was a teacher for 30-something years. He loves teaching you about the sea life and the ocean life and what all happens around all these islands. So we're on a private boat. It's just us. And he takes us out and he educates us, and it's so entertaining, so much fun. And for anybody who drinks, we do offer wine and beer. And then of course I'll have water and tea. And we go out to this island, and then we just walk around. We have a great time. And as you can see, he fixes a Low Country shrimp boil, which is quintessential South Carolina coast. And we eat and just enjoy and have a great time. And then we see the sunset, and then he brings us back after the sun sets, which is, it's still, light and beautiful. and it's just a wonderful evening. And I mean, I take a wrap. I've never been cold on this trip. I mean, you can see everybody has maybe a sweater on, but it's usually not cold that time of year. And it's really, really fun. And he makes it so fun. He does not wear shoes. He is barefooted. So everybody zones in on his feet going, oh my gosh. And he's just like an old school teacher hippie that knows a lot. So
And his feet are like the Hobbit. That's what we said.
and so I mean, he's fascinating, and he stops the boat. And if some dolphins are going by, of course, he stops the boat for that. And he makes it worth your while. And then he cooks it while we walk on the beach. You see in the picture, the driftwood. There's like a driftwood cemetery. So we all walk through that, where this driftwood has floated up and been sitting for years. And that's super cool. So just a great way to end the day. And then after this, we do head back again. If anybody's game, I'll take them out and we'll keep going.
Yeah, because there's a lot of rooftop bars and fun things to do.
Yeah, and once we get back to downtown Charleston, it's always really fun. So if somebody's game to go get a cup of coffee or cappuccino or whatever they want, we go do it because I love it. So then, and I do have a funny story about that when we finish this. So then the next day is our last day, and we go to Hall's Chop House, which is a restaurant that started in Charleston. They have them other places now because they became so successful. They have it down. It is Southern. It is delicious. It is 5-star. I've been there several times, never tasted anything off or out of whack. I mean, they treat us like gold because they don't really take reservations, but they take us because they love us so much. And last year, the owner came by and made sure we had an amazing sampling of desserts. I mean, we were stuffed already, and then he put that down in front of us. So that's a great way to end the trip. It's a gospel brunch. So you have gospel singing going on by local singers who do an amazing job. A lot of them, you know, it is African themed or from the Gullah culture. So you get quite the mix of singing and playing the piano and their instruments while you're eating, and delicious food. And that is shrimp and grits, because you cannot come to South Carolina and not taste or eat shrimp and grits. So it's just wonderful, and it's a great time. And it's called Hall's Chop House. And I've never even seen someone on any website, any of them, say anything derogatory about Hall's Chop House. It is a great way to end our trip. So I do want to tell y'all this. So this is what was happened last year. So on our last night, we all went out to a rooftop bar that's very well known, and everybody was game. And because of the pandemic, they had created this hexagon bubble around all the tables. Well, I had to park the car, and I let everybody out. And, I had to park the car with the valet, but I had to give it to him. But I said, y'all all get out and go on up, and then I'll be up in a minute after I get the car settled. So sure enough, I go up and I see everybody sitting, and I just barreled toward them. I didn't know there was a plexiglass. I ran right into it. I mean, like full speed going to sit down. And so the people beside him in the other hexagon busted out laughing. They were like, did you just run into that? I mean, like it was like a Laurel and Hardy. So everybody got a big kick out of that. I'm
just telling you, Ellisor's part of the entertainment.
So everybody was like, what just happened? And I mean, I thank goodness I didn't hurt myself, but I mean, I went barreling into it. They said, you didn't see that? Well, as we get older, I'm just looking at the people. I didn't pay attention to the reflection. So that was
so you've been warned. If you go there at the same place this time, you'll know better.
I hope they've taken them down by now. I really do. But so there's so many interesting things to do, and we are easy peasy about if somebody needs a break, or if somebody just needs a little more downtime. We do space out these events, so you get some downtime to regroup, refresh. Which is what I love about it. And it seems like everybody who goes on our trips really enjoys that we're not going. We do take breaks between everything I've just shared with you. So I'd like to open it up. do you have any questions about Charleston, about traveling to Charleston, about what we're going to do, what to wear? And I do have all my information here. I think Jeannie shares this with everybody. So if you need to contact me, you can. If you have decided to go, and if you haven't decided to go, that's okay too, but you can ask questions. I'm going to open it up, Jeannie.
Okay, can you stop sharing now?
Oh, yeah.
Hit
Stop share. Yeah.
Well, I'm, we had like 49 people sign up for this, so a lot of people wait and just watch the recording. But you guys are lucky because one of you is going to win the $200 off. But any questions?
Well,
What weather should we anticipate? What's a general weather that time of year for Charleston? What should I pack?
Typically, you just layer, like you might wear a shawl. I take a little bit of everything. I mean, I take long pants, but nothing heavy, like a cute top and cute pants. And then I might take a sweater or a wrap that's warmer. Because sometimes restaurants, you never know if they have the heat on, the air conditioning. I mean, I don't think they'll have the air conditioning at this time of year, but it's comfortable. Every time we've been in March, it's always comfortable.
It says, I just looked over like the averages. It's like the high of 66, the low of 51. But the only time I've needed that I've been cold is when it's a little bit on the beach trip, because on the boat, you're out on the water. So, but other than that.
But I always take a hat, because when we're walking around downtown Charleston, I mean, even on a 60-degree day, the sun, can be something. So I always have a hat with me too. But sandals, I do wear sandals, like, walking sandals, not flip-flops, but I'm hot natured. So if it's in the 60s, upper 60s, I'm golden. But good walking shoes, especially on the day of the garden tour, because we will do a lot of walking that day. So good walking shoes, and there are cobblestones, and it is a historical city. So it's uneven pavement, uneven sidewalks. No need for fancy shoes by any means.
What about you, Kathy? I think you were starting to have a question.
Well, this is my first even connection with you guys. So if you would tell me a little bit more about Next Tribe and what size. I see this group had like 8 people last year based on the photos. What kind of group is it, and how do you connect with the group from, if you fly in, are you on your own until you get to the hotel, or how does that work?
So I mean, I'll just do a little bit and then you can chime in, Ellesor. But so Next Tribe, it's for women over 45, and our theme has always been age boldly. And what we like is to bring together women who are interested in still having fun, learning, exploring, challenging themselves, the kind of, you're not done yet, you're still vibrant and still interested in the world. And so we do trips all over the world. Charleston is one of our first trips, because we like to have a mix of domestic and international trips, and we think that it's a good way for you to learn about Next Tribe and how we travel by a shorter trip, like the long weekend trip that's easier to get to, not as expensive. And it depends on the trip. On this trip, you'll get yourself to the hotel from the airport. On other trips, it's covered. It just depends on the trip and where you're going. But on Charleston, you would just get a cab, or what happens from here is after you sign up, as we get closer, Marcy, can you say hi, Marcy? Marcy's our travel manager, and she'll be in touch with everybody who's signed up and give the whole, all you need to know, like packing and those kind of things, plus who's on what flight. So you might even see that somebody's on your same flight and you'll share a cab, that kind of thing. And Marcy, can you just say hi to everyone?
Hi, everyone. I may have already communicated with some of you. My email is travel@nexttribe, and I'm available to answer any questions you have.
Yes.
Is the trip full?
It's not full yet. I think we have about 4 or 5 slots left. I was just about to look. But,
And then what about roommates? Like if I'm coming by myself, do you guys just match people up for the roommates, or how does that work?
yes, we match people up if that's what you want. We kind of and one thing that we've found, we've had so much success in matching people up, and also the kind of compatibility of the group is almost instantaneous. Instantaneous. It's because if this idea of aging boldly and is appealing to you, and you read the stories you write and so forth, if you respond to that, if you in your heart believe, I've got a lot left in me, and you'll find that you're with other women who feel the same way. So that means that when we do match you up with a roommate, it's almost always a success. I mean, I can't think of a bad experience we've had, and we've had even the other way where people become like best friends and travel buddies. Jean Mizell and Olga, just matched them up, and now they go places all the time. They visit each other. One's in Florida, one's in Connecticut. So I think that you can feel that you can have some confidence that the woman you're going to share a room with is somewhat like you, is like-minded. So I hope that would give you
okay.
peace. And how did you hear about Next Tribe?
I have a friend that sent me the link, and then I'm gonna retire next month. So one of the things, thank you. So one of the things I want to do is travel. And so I'm looking for different, but I don't have people, my friends either still working or they don't have any money. So I'm going to do a lot of solo traveling. So I've been looking for ways to solo travel.
Well, I have a quick story from last year. There was a woman, some hardships in life in the last year, and she joined us, and she purely found Next Tribe, Jeannie, on Facebook. And so she joined this trip, and it was, for her, it was life-changing because she needed that springboard to go to the next chapter of her life based on what she shared with us had happened in her life before. She said her family was sitting there and she was like nervous because she'd never done something on her own, or she was, had her husband prior to this and just had never broken out. And wow, by the end of the trip, she really had, felt like she'd gotten her confidence and a new outlook on life, and the camaraderie of the group supported her in that. So all kinds of things happens on these trips between all the women, because we tell our stories and everybody has a different story, but everybody has in common they're wanting to live life fully. They're either recently retired or going to retire, like you said, or they've had some kind of situation where there is a shift in their lives. And it ends up just being really fun. And what I do love about Next Tribe trips as a guide is it's just relaxed. I mean, there's no pressure. Nobody's waking you up at 8 a.m. saying, get on the bus, it's time, and here's your snack. I mean, it's a lot more conducive to how we live our
frozen bagel.
here's
Well, I did notice you had a trip last year, because she showed me this a year ago, where you went to Albuquerque, I think it was.
Oh yeah.
And you were like cooking in people's houses and stuff like that. It seems like, at least of those two trips, you do a lot with the local people that you know.
Yes.
Is that how you pick where you're going, because you already know people there? Or?
Well, that's a good question. I mean, we were in Santa Fe, and we went to onto a Puebla and got a Native American cooking class, and it was fabulous. But we do like that one of the hallmarks of our trips is that we find women in locations, and we meet with them. We go to their homes or their studios or have dinner with them, because that way you get behind just being a tourist and just looking at buildings and historical plaques. We want to get to know the women in these towns and find out how they live, and that just adds to the whole rich experience of connecting with women. And I think that your point about solo traveling, I think that's Jeannie Edmonds, who's our chief operating officer, is here, and we talk about this a lot, that there's a lot of women want to, just like you said, they want to go, but their friends aren't ready to go with them or can't. But this is where you come in and just instantly, it's like you're with people you've known forever. It really is like a strange thing. And I think it's what I said before, is the kind of the tone of what we do sets the lays the groundwork for friendships and camaraderie.
How
So
long have you been doing this?
for 7 years. So, and we were mainly a digital magazine, and we still have a magazine with lots of great articles. My background is in magazine journalist, but I also done a lot of traveling. So traveling was first the sideline and kind of a fun thing to add into the mix. But we realized that this is one of the ways that women our age really get to bond and have that connection and make new friends and all that. So we just recently gone more into the travel. So we're expanding the travel. I don't know if you've looked at any of the list of trips coming up, but we're doing everything from in 2025, the gorilla trip in Africa, hiking to Machu Picchu on the Inca Trail, doing a creativity retreat in Italy and Vietnam. I mean, there's just all kinds of exciting things. And in each trip we plan, we focus on getting to know some women in that destination. So.
Yep.
Okay. Well, it sounds interesting.
Yeah. Any other questions? Otherwise I'm gonna draw your 50%.
I'm raising my
Oh,
my
you're
hand
raising your
here. I'm raising my hand to ask a question of Kathy. Kathy,
Yeah.
it says on your on your Zoom, it says Kathy. Kathy, the woman who sent you the link, has she ever been on an X Tribe trip, or she just found it?
She found it on Facebook, I think.
Oh, that's cool. Thank you.
That's Jeannie Edmond.
Yeah, nice to
The
see
other
you.
Oh, trying to
Gina.
figure out where people. Yeah, I
Yeah.
think she found it on Facebook. She's a big Facebook person, so
Okay.
Oh,
she
good.
sent it
Okay.
to me last year. So that's
Oh, cool.
probably
Well, she needs
Great.
to come. You need to get her to come on a trip.
yeah. She qualifies. She's
I
over
would love
45.
I would love to have you and or anybody who's interested. And like I said, in this presentation is my email, and you can ask even more questions that you think of, because there is no place like Charleston, South Carolina. And everybody in South Carolina wants to live there. Of course, you have to be.
It's like- And-
It's fabulous.
And is it D? Is it D is your name? ABN?
It's Delcy.
Delcy, what a cool name.
Thanks.
So Delcy has already signed up, and she's also going to Paris, which how did you find out about us? That's a
It's kind of funny. I was just I'm kind of like Kathy. I'm looking to retire real soon and hoping to. I'm a scuba diver, so most of my travel's scuba related. But I've
Wow.
decided I need to do some stuff on land for a while. But I don't really have my other divers all want to do dive trips. So it's like I needed women, but I didn't really want to I didn't want to do Paris by myself. And I was scrolling through Instagram, and some lady that was going to Paris, she said she's not affiliated with Next Tribe.
oh
You know who she is? She's
Lucy
like, if you're not an
Frost.
asshole,
Yeah,
you're
Lucy.
really fun, and you're not a jerk, come
Yeah.
with us. We're going to Paris. It's a bunch of women. We're gonna have a blast. And I'm like, I'm not an asshole.
I know.
I can do this.
I can do this.
So I signed up for Paris, and then I kind of saw your Charleston thing, and I had nothing to do in March. So I'm like, well, heck, I'll introduce myself to Next Tribe with a shorter trip domestically. And so I'm really looking forward to it.
I'm excited.
So
And you're in Phoenix, is that what you said?
yes, I am in Phoenix, Arizona.
And you're a big scuba diver, and so you always have to go fly somewhere for your scuba diving, I guess.
Always. There's nowhere to dive in the desert.
I'll have to share with you on the trip about my niece. She was in Peace Corps in Dominica, and she was a big scuba diver in Dominica.
I'm going to Dominica and over Christmas of 20.
Oh, I'll have to share what to do. And
Oh my gosh.
I've never
yes.
been there. I'm super excited. It's supposed to be a beautiful little island.
Jeannie and I went to see her. Yep.
Yeah, we didn't scuba dive, but I do scuba dive. I love scuba diving. I just don't do it enough. So,
Okay,
I used to.
I know who your roommate's gonna be. I'm being bold here and gonna take a roommate. When do you tell us who our roommate's gonna be?
when we get more people, and maybe it's going to be Kathy. I don't know.
So you just email us and let us know.
Yes, and that if sometimes I know the people or that I've traveled with them before, and sometimes not. So, but usually it's because I know something about them because we met on something like this, or we've met, I was going to say that a few weeks before the trip, we have a meet and greet where everybody who's going on the trip comes, and we do this, not like the presentation, but we just all chat and get to know each other, ask questions and laugh and just meet each other before we meet each other in the lobby of the hotel or whatever, the first
Cool.
time.
And then is it Delcy?
Yes.
Chelsea.
Delcy. Yeah, this is Marcy talking. I will also send out a little bit before the trip everyone's contact info, emails, phone numbers, flight information, and roommates. So then if you see someone who's going to be flying from your city or have a layover with you or whatever, you guys can connect before the trip.
And then on Tribe Social and the website,
And on Tribe
is the
Social.
Next Tribe member community. And so I'll have a group there that for the trip, and we can all communicate through that too.
Okay, I have a question for Marcy since she's the travel secretary. Is the Paris trip full? Because I went on y'all's website and it said October, and I registered for May. I didn't see that trip even listed.
Oh yeah, so that first you're on the May trip, right?
Right.
Yeah, so that was so popular. There's like 30 people on the waiting list. So Jeannie planned another one for October.
So I guess that
So
is
it's
my
in-
next question. If I do want
Yeah.
to continue to travel with Next Tribe, do they sell out pretty quickly? Like if you see somewhere, do you want to go? Do you need to get reserved
Yeah.
like pretty early?
I would say
I'll let
yes.
Jeannie speak.
I would say yes, but you never know. Some trips just boom, fill up really quickly, and some not as quickly. But like the Paris trip, boom, partly because Lucy published that funny video, and then we have a trip to Portugal that sold out in less than a week, and a trip to we go up to go to San Miguel de Allende in Mexico over Day of the Dead, which is a beautiful festival in
I've done that. It's
Mexico.
amazing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And so it's that has become so popular. It's like our signature trip, but it sold out really quickly. So we added another of those trips. And so sometimes we'll do, if we can, we'll make another option. If a trip becomes that popular, we'll look at it. And as we
How many people are going to Paris?
in May, it's I think it's 12. And then on the October trip, I think there's 5 or 6 signed up, but there's another 4 to 6 slots on that one.
So none of your trips really have a lot more than like 10 people, right? Or 10 or 15?
12, 14 is really the max that I like to do. So, the Paris trip will have 14 people because there's 2 guides. And when we say guides, it sounds very formal. It's not. It's like Ellesor. They're friendly people, just they're same as you, So, but so that one in Paris it'll be 14, and some trips we can have a little more because of the way the hotels are situated. So you never know, but I like to keep as small as I can because I think
One of the things that attracted me to your organization was the smaller group.
Yeah.
And the 25 to 40 people in a group, a lot too many.
I think that Ellesor was making a point of this, and I think it's important on any of the trips we do. It's not you're not on a tour where somebody's got to waving a flag. It's never like that. We have a lot of flexibility. If you are on the walking tour and you're feeling like, oh my gosh, I just need to go get a drink or I need to go back to my room, whatever, you're free to peel off and either walk or catch a cab. And my feeling is you're grown women, and I trust that you're going to be able to get around, and you don't need anybody, babysitting you unless you want it. If you want that, then we can do that too. So
and is there always an introduction Zoom before every trip like this?
Yes.
Do you do that with
Yes.
everyone you do?
Well, this one is for people who aren't want to know whether they'd like to go or not. So, but before the trip, you will have one where everybody who's on the trip is already signed up, and you can chat among yourselves, and so you'll have another Zoom on this.
Do we know when that's going to be?
We haven't scheduled yet, but it'll be 2 or 3 weeks before, and we always record. So if you can't join the meet and greet Zoom, then we're gonna send you a link where you can watch it. And then there's always Marcy you can ask questions to. For this trip, Ellesor gave you her email too. You can email to me as well. But I'm just saying that they probably know more right now about all the details.
Cool. Thank you.
Good. Well, let me.
Wait. I raised my hand. I just want to make one point about the booking early. We often have early bird pricing.
Oh,
So
yeah,
if you
good
book
point.
early, you'll get a better price. And as Jeannie said, I mean, some of these trips sell out in a week, but some of the other ones don't. So it just depends on the destination, the time of year, and so forth.
And if you've become a member, do you always get an email when a new trip is being released?
We
So
have
you don't have to check the website all the time?
what I like to do is that we have, once you're a member, you have all kinds of well, you have, there's, if you're a subscriber to the newsletter, that's one thing, and you'll get a newsletter. But if you're a member, you get a different newsletter, and I'll offer it to those people on the member newsletter first. But even before I offer it to people on the member list, there's something called a lifetime member, and they get everything. They know everything like a week before even the other members do. So there's I like to, it's one of the perks of being a lifetime member. One of the perks of being a member is that you know before the general public gets the announcement. So
Okay.
that helps.
Thank you.
So I did draw Kathy. I had, everybody had 50% check. You two had 50% check. But Kathy, if you sign up, we will just make your deposit, and then Marcy will go behind and either you adjust the price. You take the $200 off, and just remember, if you're a member, you also get $100 discount on any trip. So
Well, to make this fair for Darcy, is I have not signed up for that trip, and I'm probably not going to go. So I would like to defer that money to Darcy.
to Delcy.
Delcy. Yeah,
why don't you think you're gonna go?
What?
Well, why can we convince you to go?
Oh, I don't know. I don't even know how much it is. I just know that there was this Zoom call tonight.
Oh,
so
let me
like,
look and see. It's not that. I mean, it's one of those our most reasonable ones, because it is. Let's see. It is. I want to say it. Don't want to tell you the wrong price.
$17.99, I think.
$17.99, and that's
so it'd be $15.99 for me. But I'm going to
Exactly.
Portugal this summer, so I'm already like spent my wad for this year, I think.
Oh, okay. Well,
So-
if you end up not going, I mean, I'll give you a few. I won't automatically give it to her, but if you tell
All
me.
right, I'll go on your website and check it out in a little bit, because I really haven't done anything other than show up on your Zoom call.
Well,
Because this retirement thing is really, it's like I'm trying to get out of a job after 40 some years. So it's a tricky thing.
I'm
but,
sure I'm gonna put the link right to the trip. I'm gonna put it here and there.